Now, better authentication is only part of the better security story here. Project Vault is a hardware and software isolated environment in the form of a micro SD card. It can be used from mobile to desktop to the Internet of Things. Mudge and his team have jammed a security-dedicated computer into a micro SD card with a simple, driver-free interface and a suite of encryption primitives. Project Vault will enable secure communications and storage, initially for enterprises, eventually for individuals too. As our smartphones have become more capable, the code that runs them does too. Large code bases made by humans have errors. Errors may be exploited to place some of our most important information at risk, like encryption keys, sensitive documents, or the sensor parameters that I just mentioned. There's an inherent tension between the desire to create capability and the ability to secure the very code that drives those capabilities. Think of it like this. My home has windows and doors, a porous boundary, which is necessary for people and things to come and go. But those windows and doors make it harder for me to protect everything in the house. So I use a vault to store the most sensitive documents. It cannot store all of the contents of my house, but it can store my most precious possessions. Project Vault is your digital mobile safe. Big security, small package. Now, Mudge formerly led the Loft. That was the hacker group that in 1998 famously testified to the Senate that they could shut down the internet in 30 minutes. He was the original author of LoftCrack, the password cracking software that drove operating system security for years thereafter. And Project Vault is his program, Mudge.
Thanks. So Project Vault is a small microSD form factor device. It's a separate, ultra-secure mini computer. You plug it into any system that has a microSD card slot or an SD card slot and make use of the suite of cryptographic services to manage your data needs, from encrypting data at rest to encrypting streaming end-to-end communications like messaging, voice, and video. Only you can unlock it, and any information and the algorithms inside Project Vault are never exposed to the system that you plug it into. So the question is, why build this, and why a microSD form factor? It turns out you already have security elements in your phones and your computers. SIM cards, they protect the things that are important to the carriers. Trusted platform modules, or TPMs, they protect the things that are important to the OEMs and the content providers. These are services with very low bandwidth, few bits per second, and with minimal storage, measured in the order of kilobytes. So, where's the security element that protects the things that are important to you, that you have complete control over? So we made one. We needed a little more throughput because we wanted to be able to handle encrypting video. So at a bare minimum, 1 megabyte a second streaming. And we wanted it to be modular so that you could take it with you from device to device. And we also wanted gigabytes worth of storage for use cases like immutable logging systems. Now, an immutable logging system can be a really powerful deterrent to an adversary, where the evidence of their activities are forever captured on a separate security computer in a way that can't be tampered with or altered. Our first focus is the enterprise, because if it works for the enterprise, it'll work for the individual. What you're looking at here are the actual first versions of Project Vault, microSD form factor. We're deploying about 500 of these within Google for authentication purposes, supporting things like Project Abacus that you just heard about, and the aforementioned immutable logs. Inside this little device is an ARM processor that runs our security-focused real-time operating system, or RTOS. It's got an NFC chip and antenna Same thing that's in your contactless payment systems. However, we're using it so that you can actually prove to Project Vault that you are in control of it and that it is authorized to perform sensitive processing on your behalf. We've loaded it up with a suite of cryptographic services: hashing, signing, bulk encryption, streaming encryption, a strong hardware random number generator, and 4 gigabytes of isolated sealed storage. 2 Vault users can communicate end-to-end without exposing any cryptographically sensitive data to the host systems, and this provides a consistent set of security features regardless of how secure or insecure the host system might be, and very importantly, in a way that's easy enough for any novice to use. So what do developers have to do to get their phones or the laptops or Internet of Things devices ready to use Project Vault? Nothing. The host system just thinks this is a regular storage device. But actually, that's just an illusion that we're creating on the fly. So to geek out for just a moment, when we get the requests, we gen up an artificial disk label, a master boot record, the file allocation table. We populate it with a read file and a write file. We mark all of the other blocks as bad so that you can only interface with these 2 files. You want to ask of a service from Project Vault, you open up the write file. You send in your request. You want the ciphertext coming back out, you open up the read file. It's a proc file system without any kernel drivers. The fewer drivers you can load on, that you have to load up on the host system, the less of a security risk you pose to the host system. And more importantly, it makes us operating system agnostic. It doesn't matter what version of Android, iOS, Chromium, Linux, Windows you have. You just plug it in and it works. So that's what we're experimenting with inside ATAP right now. And it's still very much in the experimental stage. But what we're releasing today for everybody else is the full source code for our FPGA-based developers platform. So it's all Apache 2.0. And this includes the Verilog and VHDL and all the code for the security-based RTOS, the SD controller firmware to allow communications with the host systems, the NAND flash translation layer so you can manipulate the sealed storage, my personal favorite, the hardened and accelerated hardware crypto cores, and the interface description language so you can talk to it. In fact, even the processor on this is open source, the OpenRISC 1200. We're doing this to be fully transparent because we want developers to be able to see how it works, understand it, trust it, and also then experiment with pulling certain sensitive applications outside of the general purpose operating systems that you're used to writing in, because these devices might be untrusted or just too complex to ever fully secure. And now you have an external isolated execution environment to run them in. So with that, I'd like to invite Tim Karstens up, my colleague who's done a lot of the Verilog VHDL work for these dev boards. If I could get the camera up. We're going to run a little demo. I'll log you in here. Oh, I hate passwords. On this side, if the camera can focus in on the laptop, we're looking at a chat server. And so this is a chat server running out of the East Coast, essentially the God's eye view. There's nothing there right now because we're going to see the communications as they come up. On the right, we have, of course, Bob and Alice. So Bob and Alice both have a Project Vault device. So if we could have Alice plug in the Project Vault here. There's the file system, the illusionary file system, with the read file and write file. Let us see. So at this point, Alice would launch a chat application, and the chat application just opens those 2 files to make use of Project Vault. And if we go back over to the laptop, please, with the camera. If the demo gods are happy with us today, and it appears that they're cooperating, this is the ciphertext. So all the ciphertext on the server. So what's happening is Project Vault is ingesting this, decrypting it, looking for the hello messages from each other, from the contexts that are, again, stored in Project Vault, engaging in key negotiation, setting up a session key, and once that's done, they have an encrypted secure communications channel. So if we're back over on the phones, we're going to send some messages back and forth. The server or any third party only ever sees the ciphertext. The phones display to the users the decrypted communications, but none of the secrets, none of the private keys, or the actual algorithms that are operating with them are ever exposed to the device it's plugged into. So it shouldn't matter how many doors or windows your house has, as long as you have a vault in it. Thanks.
During the early stages of the 21st century, we have seen a rapid growth in hackers, spammers and scammers, who are constantly after one thing: your online data. With that being said, do you truly expect that your secured passwords will truly remain as such forever? Several online users are worried about forgetting their passwords, as they are constantly signing up for different online services. Shining some light onto this subject, Google is just as equally concerned about the online security measures. Not only does Google want to aid in your online protection, but also protect it in the smartest way possible. Meet the new, and the smallest, computer ever by Google, the Project Vault. The chosen name for their super-secured computer is making a name for itself, since Google had announced this new project at the annual Google Input-Output Developers Conference, held on Friday. Project Vault, originally designed and created by Google's Advanced Technology and Projects Group, also known as ATAP, is nothing shy of a secured computer that can fit entirely on a MicroSD card. With this MicroSD card, and the operating system installed on it, you can plug it into just about any system, desktop and/or mobile device, and run the operating system directly from the MicroSD card. While stating that this new project is indeed a computer, this is not for typical computing desires. This does, however, present a new line of technology advances in which allows you to communicate, and even authenticate, your online accounts without the hassle of entering passwords. While today's standards for setting passwords often resemble some sort of reference into our personal lives, Google is aiming to make the passwords we choose a bit more personal than expected. The advanced technology that goes into this microchip possessed the ability to authenticate you, as well as your passwords, long before any applications or websites even think about asking for your login information. This concept is making the Vault of the ability to make your primary authentication, which is secured by a chosen password, a secondary option, which will result in you having to do nothing to log into your favorite apps or websites. Small chip, but big dreams. The Project Vault allows Google to possess the ability to, in essence, transform your device into your passwords. This method is fully capable of performing the encryption, or even scramble, your app while in a chat message and then go further and provide you with an extra added layer of security, which will then make all of your respective devices extremely secured, while you are not doing anything extra for security measures in order to ensure that you are you. While providing a demo, the ATAP team was able to properly explain, and even show us, how two people are able to utilize this new computer in order to perform a secure chat session with each other. In which case, they were using the Vault-equipped smartphones. Once the researchers had installed this Project Vault chip into their respective phones, the chat application had opened up the virtualized two-file system with the standard read/write input-output interface. The way this process works is by the default encryption service that is embedded inside of the Vault. Once you have it opened up, the Vault will then encrypt the selected chat message and then send that message through the phone. This ensures no one is able to spy, otherwise known as snooping, in on your conversations. The phone will then proceed on to automatically decrypt the received message. However, this will never be fully able to provide any of the keys or algorithms upon either end, receiving or sending. The company in which developed this software also states that you will be able to encrypt video with their Vault computer. What comes with the Vault? An ARM-based processor and antenna NFC near-field communication for communicating with nearby devices, 4 GB of isolated, sealed internal storage, the ultra-secured operating system, and a nice suite of cryptographic programs. The computer runs off a custom-built RTOS real-time operating system, combined with an entire suite of cryptographic programs that include batch encrypting, hashing, and even signing. We can also see that there is a RNG random number generator to provide your data and messages, just that much more secured. When comparing this new line of OS against other major OS S, we see that it works just like Windows, Linux, or even Apple. Essentially, this is nothing more than a new concept for device storage for your host machine. Your host machine can represent an actual computer, or a mobile device. While Project Vault is in the experimental stages at this time, there are process of this new line of computers becoming user-ready. However, the source code for Project Vault can be easily viewed and is available for you to download and create your own Project Vault from Google's GitHub. Google has listed this under an open source license, thus making the project available for developers to start configuring and aiding in the project for further development and research purposes. Sources: The Hacker News, Project Vault, GitHub, YouTube. This article, MicroSD card hosting a secured computer, is a free and open source. You have permission to republish this article under a Creative Commons license with attribution to the author and an ONC.